So that's Indonesia, Nepal. What about the Philippines? So I checked out the Philippines. I looked into Western media. What are they saying about it? So they have this article: mass protests expected in Philippines capital amid public fury over alleged corruption in government projects. So again, literally the exact same complaint in Indonesia and Nepal. Just all of these people in the month of September 2025, they all just suddenly decided to complain about corruption as if it just started this month. Okay, so right here, civil society and church organizations are among the groups that have called for joint demonstrations. So they're telling you this wasn't spontaneous. There are organizations with funding, with political affiliations leading the protests. Who are they and what are their affiliations? That's how you do analysis. You don't listen to their slogans and try to think why they're out there. You don't look at their flags and say, oh, they have a Palestinian flag. I support Palestine. I support the protest. No, you have to follow the money. You have to figure out who's funding them. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International pretend they care about Palestine. Are they good guys? No, we know they're funded by the US government, and the US government uses them to literally advance war propaganda, to justify wars and the worst abuses of human rights on earth this 21st century. So no, that is not how you do analysis. You don't do it by cherry picking claims and superficial symbolism. You have to follow the money. You have to see who's actually leading it. So who are these civil society organizations? If you look at local media, this is it says Inquirer.net, but it's actually called the Philippine Daily Inquirer, but I guess they just call it Inquirer for short. Anyway, biggest flood of protests yet under Marcos. So they're going to tell you who is organizing these protests. So they have this, they're calling it the Trillion Peso March, and it was led by Tindig Filipinas. Also, all of these Catholic organizations, and anyone who knows anything about the history of the Philippines, first the Spanish came in with missionaries. Those were the NGOs of the time. Those were the ones that would infiltrate a society, undermine their indigenous institutions, and then install over them and basically erase them with Western style institutions that controlled people in a way that suited Western interests, Spain's interests at that time, at the expense of their own local interests. And then the United States came in and they did the exact same thing. They had Christian organizations come in. They also had actual modern day NGOs eventually come in. And the Philippines used to literally be a colony of the United States. They only got their independence in 1946, but ever since then, the U.S. has still exercised tremendous control over the Philippines. Their military is stationed there. Their military is stationed there right now, and they've got their missiles pointed at China, and they're encouraging the Philippines to essentially become the Ukraine of Southeast Asia, triggering some sort of conflict with China directly. So anyway, we have Tindig Filipinas. So who are they? And this is how easy it was. You just type in Tindig Filipinas into Google and NED, and you will get this website right here. It's called InsightGov. InsightGov, very interesting name. And it says Tindig Filipinas, a coalition of democratic groups and advocates, convened a summit on November 18th and brought together diverse political figures and civil society actors, again, NED funded, Open Society funded, to delve into critical issues presently confronting Philippine democracy. So there fortifies the ranks of Insight.gov. And here they are. And when you see this costs money to do. So somebody's funding this. Who's funding Insight.gov? About Insight.gov. Let's just scroll down. Let's make it super easy for people that are pretending this isn't happening. Donor partners, International Republican Institute, National Endowment for Democracy. And here they are, Tindig Filipinas, their logo down here, along with these other organizations, Asia Democracy. Whenever you hear the word democracy, should be a red flag should go up and say, do ordinary people actually care about this? Or is this something the US imposes on them and gets people wrapped up into to advance their own interests at the expense of these targeted nations? That should be a red flag. And then you go and you do your actual research. You follow the money and you find the NED logo, literally, side by side with Tindig Filipinas, who they admit are leading the protests. It's that simple. It's that simple. You could do it in literally 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes it's a little more difficult. Sometimes the organization leading the protests isn't so obvious. But then you look at the media organizations supporting the protests in a favorable light, side by side with the Western media itself. You see the Guardian promoting this myth that these are about anti-corruption. This has nothing to do with the U.S. creating unrest in the Philippines, Nepal, and Indonesia. These are all just people simultaneously deciding this is a problem in September 2025. Same goes for this CNN article. So you see NED-funded quote-unquote independent media, and CNN and Guardian and the BBC, they're all reporting the same thing. That's how you can spot it. And for a comparison, again, this is a protest that I lived through. I witnessed it. I was present at these protests in 2014 in Thailand. Thai people, Thai interests, Thai political parties, Thai independent media organized these protests against a US-backed client regime that they successfully removed from power. And this was what the entire Western media was said. This is the Washington Post, but there were many articles like this from the BBC, CNN. Thailand's anti-democracy protests should provoke a harsh rebuke from the US. And they were calling the protests a bunch of undemocratic rabble, ultra-royalists, extremists. They openly, obviously, overtly opposed those protests. When the Western media overwhelmingly is supporting a protest, it serves U.S. interests. When they are openly opposing it and condemning it, it is probably a legit protest that the U.S. is opposed to. And who in the Philippines is favorably promoting the protests that we know are being led by an NED-funded organization? It's Rappler. And here, they're talking all about all of these protests. And again, they're not raising any suspicion about it. They're just saying, well, look at these great anti-corruption protests. What a great development for the Philippines. But Rappler was created by Maria Ressa. She literally is funded by the NED. She works for the NED. She got the extremely fake and meaningless Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, so it says Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Ressa joins World Movement for Democracy at NED as chairperson. Okay, so she is NED. She runs Rappler. Rappler is promoting the protests. The organization coming out to lead the protests is literally funded by the National Endowment for Democracy. So that's 3 protests in 3 countries in just 1 month, all flying the same one piece flag, all funded by the NED. The core organizations involved are funded by the NED or have an obvious admitted connection to the National Endowment for Democracy. This isn't a coincidence. This is a warning. The United States is trying to undermine and overthrow Asia. They're trying to do to Asia what they've just done to the Arab world and what they are doing to Eastern Europe and actually now spreading to Western Europe.